Good day, folks. Welcome back to Merton Hyundai and Ed's Garage. Today, I am excited to bring to you the all-new Kona N. I think, I may be the first person reviewing this in Canada, but I'm pretty excited because this little beast has 276 horsepower and 289 foot-pounds of torque. This will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, 0 to 62 miles an hour in 5.5 seconds. It's a little rocket and it's got some awesome features. So let's go over this little car and see what it's got. So this is our first one on the lots. We just got lucky here and received this today. And man, isn't it a looker? Look at that cool little red line along the bottom of the rocker panel there. Little red line along the front spoiler or front splitter. Not really much of a splitter, but you get the idea. But yeah, let's go over this. We're going to start at the front here. So of course you got the cool LED daytime running lights and a full LED headlight and high beam situation here as well. They are a reflective headlight and high beam, but they're all LED. You still got the air curtain pass-through right here. And of course the grille is a little bit different on the Kona N. Keep in mind, guys, this is not just the performance appearance package, this is the full performance package. So you get everything, including blacked out badges. Check that out. Now on the front, you can also see in the windshield, we've got the forward-facing camera system. That's for the autonomous emergency braking and lane keep. But right above that is a sensor for the windshield wiper. So it's got automatic wipers as well. All right, checking out wheels and tires. So this one, look at these awesome aluminum alloy rims. Of course, this one is wrapped in Pirelli P0s, 235 40 R19, so 19-inch aluminum alloy rims. Of course, you can see that cool N badge in the middle there. And you can see the N brakes as well. So brake calipers painted a cool red, check that out. Really, really nice look. And quite frankly, awesome tires as well. Going down the side, we can see we still have the marker lights on the mirror. Still got the blind spot monitor in the mirror there as well. Still have proximity entry as well. And of course, the side skirts are a little bit different than the typical Kona. And you can see we've also got the little N badge there. Coming around to the back, check this out. Got these awesome dual chrome tip exhaust. These are huge. Look at how big these are. And it sounds amazing, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into N mode so you can hear what the difference is between regular and N mode. All right, so this is just the regular drive mode. I'm gonna go ahead and rev it up a little bit for you here. All right, but now I'm gonna put it into the N sport mode. Check this out. How cool is that? Great sounding vehicle. You can hear the exhaust baffles are opened up when you put it in the N mode. And of course you can hear a little bit of that turbo whine coming from the front as well. Now on the tail lights here, you'll notice that we do have LED daytime running lights, or sorry, rather LED running lights in the back. And LED turn signals, a really nice looking turn signal here. Those are actually borrowed from the other Konas as well. So no difference there. We got the cool red line along the back of the bumper. And of course, the N badge down in the bottom right corner. Now, one of my favorite things though, check this out. The top mounted brake light, that triangle, just like the Veloster. And of course, you got this little air pass through on the rear spoiler as well. Let's have a look in the trunk. All right, so trunk basically the same as other Konas. You do get the tire mobility kit in this one. No spare tire to speak of. However, you got the little organizer tray underneath here, which is kind of nice, and a bunch more space down there. If you really wanted to, you could actually put a donut spare in there. This floor does drop down to a lower height as well. So if you take out the little organizer, you can drop the floor down. However, when the seats are down, it's a nice smooth transition from the floor to the seat back. Also, Kona N specific mats. You can see we got the N badging on the mats there, and even on the outside of the mat they've got this red stitching, which looks pretty cool as well. I've gone ahead and folded one of the seats down so you can see it's a nice smooth transition to the seat back, and that of course offers in a lot of extra space. This of course does come out as well, and you can have a relatively large item in the back here. You've also got on this one the premium sound, including a subwoofer right here, so I'll go over that in a little bit. But let's check out the rear seats first. All right, so I've gone ahead and set up the front seat to a position that is comfortable for me to drive. But I'm gonna go ahead and jump in to the back here. Now I'm 6'2". I don't have a long torso or long legs. I'm kind of split down the middle perfectly. And you can see my knees do hit the back of the seat. However, if I'm just sitting comfortably, it's actually just fine. It's not a large SUV. This is a subcompact SUV. So, you know, it's a bit tight back here for somebody taller like me, However, it's still quite comfortable. I do have access to a armrest, as you can see here. Apologies if my jacket's hitting my microphone. I'm trying to avoid that as best I can. But yeah, you got a nice cushioned armrest, and the doors are cushioned as well. The armrests on the doors. The seat backs are a nice solid plastic, and I've got room underneath the seat to put my feet. So it's pretty comfortable back here, even though it's a little bit tight in the legs. I got tons of headroom though, that's not a problem at all. And I've also got a grab handle in all four corners back here as well. Now, a couple of nice styling touches. The ceiling is a nice black. It's I'm not sure exactly what kind of material that is, to be honest. It's a little bit different than what I'm used to seeing. But it's black, so that looks pretty cool. Reduces, of course, a little bit of glare on the windows and stuff like that. And even the risers on the pillars are black as well. And the door handles are black. Nice touch. Looks really good. All right, let's jump into the front seat. Now, first, before I jump in, we do have a power driver's seat. The passenger seat is manual, however. The driver's seat, though, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-way adjustable via power. And then, of course, you do have a 2-way manually adjustable headrest. But I will point out, these seats are a little bit different than the typical Kona. They are much more heavily bolstered. And, of course, you get this beautiful blue stitching, as well as the sort of suede inserts, and of course the N badge up here. It looks awesome. One thing I'm a little disappointed on is that they didn't do the light blue seat belts like they did in the Veloster N. However, it doesn't really matter. It's still a really nice looking interior. Having a look at the driver's door, again, you've got the padded armrest, and you can see we have a Harman Kardon audio system here. So really, really good sound from that. And moving on to the Footwell, you can see we've got the aluminum pedals, which looks really nice. Of course, tilt and telescopic steering wheel, and of course buttons on there for different N modes, which we'll get to in a moment. Having a look at the first few buttons on the left here, so we've got the dimmer switch there. You've got head-up display in this one, which I'll show you as well in a moment, and hill descent assist. So that works up to 40 kilometers an hour, maintaining your descent speed at whichever speed you let the brake loose at. Also, another little bit of a styling cue. This is pretty cool. So the e-brake handle's got some nice blue stitching on it, as does the boot for the shifter. And of course, you got the N-specific shifter with that blue line as well. It looks really sharp. Unfortunately, I can't drive this vehicle just yet. It hasn't gone through pre-delivery inspection. However, check out a future video for that. I will definitely do a drive test on this vehicle, so stay tuned and subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification to check that out. All right, guys, let's look at some of the other features on this really cool little Kona N. So starting with the steering wheel. So you've got paddle shifters on the back. This vehicle, of course, is equipped with a dual clutch transmission. The cool thing about that dual clutch transmission is it's 8-speed and it's wet dual clutch, which means it's not going to burn through those clutch plates as easily. They're submerged in oil, and that keeps them cool. So it's the same transmission that you'd find in the Santa Fe Calligraphy as an example, but it's really, really quick shift. And with those paddle shifters, it's a hell of a lot of fun to drive. As for the rest of the buttons on the steering wheel, of course, you got your typical media buttons over here. So voice recognition. Now, the voice recognition does work built in, as you can hear, but it also works with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Now, you got your volume knob right here, and of course, that's also your mute button. Mode button switches between where music's coming from. And then you've got your answer and hang up buttons, as well as your rocker buttons here for the volume, as I mentioned, and the next preset, previous preset, next track, previous track. The answer button and hang up button, this is actually a customizable button. You can actually change this to do multiple things, as you can see here on the screen. So you can have it record a voice memo, reroute your navigation system, cancel the route, put it into quiet mode, and also if we scroll up, you can see you can reject call, change hands-free calling device, put it into privacy mode, etc. So a few different options you can do with the customizable button. On the right-hand side here, you've got the buttons for your cruise control, so that's these three. And then you've got the two buttons here to control the little center trip computer screen, which we'll get to in a bit, as well as your button for your lane keep assist. Now, the lane keep assist in this one here is low speed, so lane follow, and then your highway lane keep assist. That's a setting that you can enable and disable in that screen. Below that, we've got the N-Grin shift button. So what this does is it actually temporarily, for a short period of time, overboosts the turbo, but also tries to keep you in the lowest gear possible without damaging the vehicle, obviously. It just gives you a little extra power for a short period of time. Any longer, of course, would cause things to overheat. So it's pretty cool. It has like a countdown when you use it come up on the screen there. It's really neat. This one allows you to put the vehicle into either the stock N mode or the customizable N mode, which I'll get to in a bit. But basically when I hit that, you can see the instrument cluster changes. Everything looks really cool and exciting. And of course you hear that new exhaust note as well. This one down here is basically your drive mode button. However, there is a drive mode button down there as well, which I'll get to in a moment. But when we press this button, that allows us to put it back into sport, eco, and normal modes. And of course you see the whole instrument cluster changes when we do so. It looks super cool. Behind the steering wheel, of course, you have the steering stock, or the steering wheel stock for your windshield wipers and washers. So the front wiper, of course, and then the rear wiper is a twist. Now you can see it says automatic here, because when we drop it down to automatic, not only does it show down here, but you can also adjust the automatic intensity of the wipers as well. And on the left side, you have your turn signal stock and your headlights. Now, this one does not have automatic high beams, so that's one slight difference with other vehicles. It does have auto headlights, of course, but we always put it in the top level there so that the headlights and taillights are on all the time. All right, looking over at the center console, we have the center console storage location here, which is a reasonable size. It's not huge, but you know, it'll hold a lot of your little knickknacks. You got your cup holders there, of course, and they do have little springy bits here so that'll hold large and small cups. You have a heated steering wheel, so the full 360 degrees of the steering wheel is heated. And of course, it's got this really nice leather perforated grip on it as well. Really, really nice steering wheel. You've got heated seats, 3 levels on both of the front seats. And then you got your traction control button there. You can turn that off. You can also turn traction control off in the different N modes, so I can show you that up here. There's a customizable section for that. And then you got your traction and drive mode right here. So when I move this back and forth like this, it actually does change the drive mode on the screen the same way that it did with the button on the steering wheel. However, if I press this button now, I can put it into, check this out, snow, de-snow, deep snow, I guess. That's a new one for me, mud and sand. So guys, I just learned that with you here while going through that. Now, this vehicle is sadly not all-wheel drive. However, it does have an electronically limited slip differential, so that's going to help immensely in the snow. Now, of course, being front-wheel drive, it's actually going to be decent in the snow anyway, better than typical rear-wheel drive gasoline vehicle. But with the electronically limited slip differential, what that can do with the different drive modes is actually make it more aggressive. It changes the traction control dynamics. It limits the startup speed a little bit as well. It does a pretty good job from what I understand from having read about it. And of course you got the mud and sand modes there as well, so that'll alter how that limited slip differential works in the traction control and the stability control as well. So pretty cool. All right, just in front of the really cool shifter is the wireless charging pad. So that is a ventilated pad. You can see little holes in it there. 40 watts of charging capability, so it'll charge a wireless charging phone very quickly. You got a USB port here that connects directly to the stereo if you're using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You got a USB port there for charging devices, including tablets. And you've got a 12-volt power outlet to the right. Above all of that is your climate control. Now this is automatic climate control with 3 different levels of intensity. It's not dual zone, but it is climate control. Vehicle's not very big, so it doesn't really need dual zone climate control anyway. And then of course you got the buttons along the bottom here. Here's your recirculate. Now check this out. When I turn on, or when I pull the stock to clean the windshield, you see that? It automatically recirculates the air, so you're not smelling the windshield washer fluid. So pretty nice little feature there, good touch. To the left of that, of course, is your start-stop button. Wow, sorry, I'm trying to see what I'm doing through my camera here. And then above that, you got your beautiful 10-inch touchscreen. Now this touchscreen is non-polarized, which means you can use polarized sunglasses and still see the screen just fine. We're gonna get back to the screen in a moment here though, but first we're gonna go up to the rear view mirror. Now you can see on the rear view mirror, don't worry, it's not flashing like that in real life. That's just the refresh rate of the camera. You got call for roadside assistance, call for Google navigation assistance, call for emergency assistance, and then you got the 3 buttons here for your home link, garage doors and gates and the like. And of course this is auto dimming. Above that you got your sunglass holder and your map lights, interior lights, and then both of the side visors slide out. They both have mirrors and they both have lights that shut off when you close the side visor. All right, in regard to the little center instrument cluster here, I'm going to use these two buttons to navigate through this center instrument cluster, and I'm going to show you the different things you have on the screen. So starting with the attention level. So this vehicle can determine how attentively you're driving based on your input to the steering wheel, brake, and gas pedal, etc., as well as how long you've been on the road. And if I drop it down one, you can see we've got our lane keep assist information screen. Just basically warns you where you're drifting out of your lane. Kind of a useless screen, because if that, if you can see that, it means your eyeballs work. Just look out the front window. Pressing the top button here takes us one over to our sport info screen. So I'm not sure exactly what they call it, but it's basically the sport info screen. If we zoom in a little bit here, you can see I got a little checkered flag there at the top. It shows you our oil temperature, engine temperature, and if I drop it down, turbo boost PSI, so basically our boost gauge, how much torque is being applied at any given time. And then if I drop it down again, we've got a lap timer. How cool is that? All we need to do to start it is to press the OK button, which is the up and down button right there. And then one further down shows us our G meter. Now you can also see the G meter on the large screen in different places, so I'll show you that in a bit. Maybe when I get a chance to drive the vehicle, I'll point the camera at that for a bit. All right, bumping one over, we can see we've got the digital speedometer, and we go up up to the very top. We've got our drive info, info since last refueling, as well as our accumulated info. Now, don't be alarmed by the average liters per 100 kilometers. Obviously, this vehicle hasn't really gone very far yet, and yeah, it's basically just come off a truck, basically. So, jump one over, we got our compass. Now, this will change to turn-by-turn directions when we're using the built-in navigation system on the screen. Now, the navigation and turn-by-turn directions will also show up on the head-up display, which I'll show you in just a moment. And then, of course, we have one further over, our tire pressure monitor. All right, having a look at the head-up display, you can see we've got the 0 kilometers an hour right there. But when I put the vehicle into N mode, check this out. Now, I've got a, well, basically what gear we're in, as well as the tachometer and a digital speedometer. So if I rev it up, you can see what happens here. It's pretty cool. And as you sort of climb up the revs, it'll turn red. It looks really, really neat. And of course, if I put it into gear, you can see we're currently in first gear. I'm not going to drive it at the moment, but there you go. So that's what that does. Pretty neat. And if I switch back to regular normal mode, there we go. We can still see the digital speedometer. Let's get some navigation up on the screen here for you. All right, so now there's our, sorry, it's kind of hard to manipulate the camera in such a way that you can see this, but you can see 2.2 kilometers to our destination, and the next turn coming up is a right turn. So it shows all of that information in the head-up display. Now, if I go into the setup on the large screen here, and I enter into the vehicle, I can actually change some of the settings for the head-up display. Let's go to the, well, first off, display control. That allows me to move the display up and down and then tilt it and stuff like that. But in content selection, you can see the things that I can put up on the head-up display include turn-by-turn directions, traffic signs, convenience info. So that's, yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Oh, there we go. So that's like your cruise control settings. Blind spot safety information. So blind spot will actually show up on either side of the head-up display as well. And then media info, so when music changes, it'll tell you what's actually playing, that sort of thing, all on the head-up display. And that's all secondary to, or supplementing, of course, the N mode tachometer and stuff like that. So pretty cool. Lots of stuff you can see on the head-up display. All right, now finally, let's cover everything on the screen here. Well, most of the stuff on the screen. So I'm going to start with the very, very home screen. So you can see here, we have the map kind of showing up a little bit on the right-hand side here and our destination and whatnot, and a little bit of information about what song is playing and who is currently logged in. Also, the time is up on the right-hand side there. Let me just pull this off. There we go. A bit less glare now. All right, so if I swipe over to the left, you can see we've got all of the icons here that are in the main menu and a few more to the right there. So basically 3 sort of main screens. So that's your home screen, your main sort of menu, and then your secondary menu right there. The N mode button here takes us into this screen here, which is pretty cool. So this is when you take the vehicle to the track. You got your tachometer, your throttle percentage, oil temperature, engine temperature, lap timer, the circuit that you're at. So if you're actually racing one of these circuits, this is pretty cool. So up here you can change it to list by name or by country. So this is kind of neat. So you can see on the right hand side here the name of the track. From what I understand, basically it'll put a little dot on the map when you're driving around the map. How cool is that? So you can pick which circuit you want to go around and then even change the circuit lengths depending on what they've got open for you to take. Pretty cool. That's all part of the N circuit screen there. On the right hand side here, you've even got brake percentage, how much brake you're actually pressing. You can see as I push the brake down, if I really press the brake hard, there we go, is 100%. And then up on the top left, I give it a little bit of throttle. You can see that throttle moving. Pretty neat. So cool. Now you can actually open these up individually and they kind of give you how much throttle and brake you're using at a specific time. Of course, when you're doing like a lap, it's using a lap timer. It's telling you, how much throttle you're using at any given time. So if I give it a lot of throttle here, there we go, there's our 99%. And then as it kind of moves through time, it's going to leave a little peak there, just like that. We can do the same thing with brake. You can see I just hit the brake 100% right there. So as we're going around a track, we can actually monitor data about, how much throttle, what the oil temperature was, the engine temperature, what speed we were going, how much braking I was doing, how much power I was putting down, how much torque, how much turbo was being used, how many PSI was being used at any given time. All of that on that screen. Pretty cool. Lap timer brings up a full screen lap timer. You can set that to record manually or automatically as you accelerate. And then up here we got a little menu button. We can go into different things as well. Let's check it out. So edit N mode widget. So if I tap on that, that brings up basically what's in the N mode screen. And I can choose what different things I want to put there. So if I've got my G-force meter here, for instance, I can actually take that G-force meter and I should be able to slide that to the top right corner. And if I back out, now I've got the G meter there. Pretty cool. So again, I want to try that out on the test drive. I'm not going to go nuts, but it'll be there. If I go to performance options, check this out. We've got launch control. Now I can activate launch control from here. There's other ways to do it as well, but I can actually adjust how much throttle I want the launch control to actually set before I take off. And I can reset it back to 0 there. Shift light, I can actually enable a alert sound. So this is what the dial does here when you get to your rev limiter. Basically, it's going to turn red, hoping that you shift soon. And then, of course, we have an alert sound. And I can actually even change what RPM I want that all to happen at. The N power shift, so that basically enhances acceleration performance and direct drive feel by optimizing shift response. Available in Sport Plus transmission mode. And then I've got N track sense shift automatically activates the appropriate shift program when dynamic driving is sensed. So it's automatic. Available in Sport Plus transmission modes. And I can also disable the automatic creep mode here as well. So all performance related things. Pretty neat. Now, I can even go to a tutorial here if I don't know how to use half of this stuff, which personally I don't because I'm not a race car driver. If I want to go into the customization options for N mode, all I need to do is hold the N mode button down. So instead of just pressing and releasing it, I'm going to hold it down until this screen comes up. And you can see we've got Custom 1, Custom 2, and then we can also have it go to different drive mode. We can have it start the set lap timer, that sort of thing. So what we want to do though is so that's how we can customize what this button does. But now what we want to do is customize the N mode. So that you'll find if you go into the N mode screen first and simply swipe to the left. So now we actually have full control over the different modes. So here's Custom 1. And right now in Custom 1 N mode, everything is at its max performance setting with the exception of the electronic stability control. So if I tap that, it asks us, are you sure you want to disable everything? We'll say yes. Now this is basically the way the Stig would drive it on Top Gear. Everything basically turned up to max and electronic stability control disabled. And here's where we can also enable our launch control. Under performance options, takes us back to this screen. And if I hit the G meter, it just makes that full screen. So basically that's where we can customize everything. If I choose a different Custom 1, you can see here we got Custom 1, Custom 2. I can then customize those other settings for Custom 2 and actually have the HUD come up into the Sport mode automatically as well. So there's a lot of things you can play with here. You can have different levels. Here's your, like the engine mode, for instance. So we got normal, Sport, and Sport Plus. So the difference is normal, right? Sport improves engine response, provides enhanced engine response and acceleration suitable for sporty driving, but Sport Plus provides maximum engine response and acceleration suitable for dynamic and racetrack driving. Steering, same sort of thing. We've got normal, Sport, and Sport Plus, providing minimal steering assistance for maximized road feel and steering rigidity. So it really tightens up the steering wheel. Suspension, we've got normal, we've got sport, increased suspension stiffness to provide better sporty driving experience. And then Sport Plus provides an aggressive regulation of the suspension damping force, offering maximum vehicle rigidity, suitable for driving dynamically and racetrack driving as well. I'm adding a few words here. We've got different transmission controls. We've got different limited slip, electronically limited slip differential controls. We've got electronic stability control, which we can enable and disable in different levels. The exhaust note, you can put it into just a regular exhaust note while having everything else in sporty mode. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can actually play with in here. So our regular head-up display looks like that. Our sport display looks like that. So I mean, there's total customization with everything that you want to do and change depending on how you want it. Super, super cool. All right, so coming back down to earth here, of course, we do have built-in navigation. You can see we've got the route on there. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. That's the route that I selected earlier to show you the head-up display. Now you can also split screen a lot of this stuff. So if you want to have, for instance, your stereo on the right, or your weather on the right, or your calendar on the right, and keep the map system here, you can. Now if you have the stereo on the right, but you turn on the stereo, what'll actually happen, or you press the radio button, what'll actually happen is it'll put the map on the right-hand side now and the stereo on the left-hand side. Super easy to enable and disable presets, such as right there. It's got HD audio as well, of course. So lots of customization in that screen as well. Navigation is just where you can set directions. Phone just takes you to your phone screen, no big deal. Phone projection is your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Voice memo is where you can record your own voice to set reminders. Climate just takes you into the climate screen, which is the same as what you do down here, no big deal. Valet mode, quiet mode, or sorry, Valet mode is part of the BlueLink system, so you have to have BlueLink enabled for that to work. By the way, BlueLink is free in Canada for 3 years, and basically it allows you to remote start your car, find your car on a Google map, lock the doors, unlock the doors, all that stuff, but also provides you emergency assistance automatically in the event of a collision. So it's pretty cool technology. You got quiet mode here, which will shut off the rear speakers and limit the volume in the front speakers. HD radio data pulls data on like traffic alerts. You got Doppler radar and fuel prices. Pretty cool. Radio just takes you to the radio screen, and of course the setup screen takes us into where we can enable and disable a lot of the features of the vehicle. Change the mapping system by doing updates. No over-the-air updates yet on this model. Change the screen layout, that sort of thing. So lots of customization in there as well. All right, so I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to cut it off at that there. If you want to see more about that display, by all means, check out pretty much any of my other Kona Ultimate reviews. The Ultimate N-Line, for instance, or the EV Ultimate has a very similar screen layout and kind of goes through all the same stuff. So, so I'll leave it at that for now. Guys, I'm going to end the video here, and I'll do another video on the drive of the vehicle once I'm able to. But thank you so much for getting this far. I know it's a bit of a longer video. Please, if you did like it, if it helped you out at all, if you found anything interesting, please, please, please hit like, hit subscribe, and share the video with your friends. Put it up onto Facebook. Please help me out. For whatever reason, the YouTube algorithm is really killing me right now, so my videos aren't making their way around, unfortunately. So anything that you can do to help, if I've helped you, I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.